Baruchim habaim b'shem Adonai. Blessed are those of you who have come to the house of God. This morning, we're going to honor the life and the memory of Nancy Antunez-Schaffer. When it comes to the Jewish rituals of mourning, there are two main mitzvot that we follow. There are two main commandments. The one is to honor the deceased. And we'll do that this morning with beautiful prayers and music, by hearing eulogies. And afterward, at the meal of condolence, too, about sharing memories and stories about Nancy. And the other one, which is arguably more important, is bringing comfort to the mourners. And that's a commandment that's not just for today or not just for this upcoming week, but for an entire year. And so we'll do both of those mitzvot today of honoring Nancy and hopefully bringing some comfort to her family as well. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid ki mimini bal emot. I've set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult, my soul rejoice, my being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones see destructions. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy. Enduring happiness is your gift. We turn now to Psalm 121, Esa Enai, my help will come from God.
Esa Enai el harim me'ayin yavo Ezri mehim Adonai Ose shamayim va'aretz aitain lamot raglecha ayanu Shomer Israel Adonai Shomrecha Adonai Tzilcha al yad yeminecha Yom HaShemesh lo yakeka ve'areach balayla Adonai yishmorcha mikora yishmor et nafshecha Adonai yishmor tzeitecha uvoecha me'ata
Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection. At your right hand, the sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to grieve, and a time to dance, a time to throw stones, and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to discard, a time to tear, and a time to sow, a time to keep silent, and a time to speak. We now turn to the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for the sake of his name. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Adonai roi lo echsar bin ot deshe harbitzeni amei menuchot Nafshi shovev, shovev, yancheni v'magle tzedek, yancheni v'magle tzedek, Gam ki elech begetz amavet lo irara ki ata imari shivtecha Taroch lefanai shulchan neged zorerai nishadav Hashem eroshi kosi revaya ach tov chesed irdefuni koyemei chayai vishavti beveit Adonai Adonai roi lo echsar. Adonai roi lo echsar.
We are here this morning to honor and remember Nancy Antunez-Schaffer. Zichronah livracha, may her memory be for a blessing. Our hearts especially go out to Nancy's family, her son Zach, her siblings Rose and David, and her loving partner Dan. We also remember Nancy's late daughter, Maxie. Zichronah livracha, may her memory also be for a blessing. Nancy's story begins in Acapulco, Mexico. She was firstborn child to Maximiliano and Betty Jo Bliss. Acapulco was the perfect setting for Nancy to grow up. She was surrounded by the beautiful coastal scenery, by wonderful friends. And her capacity for friendship was legendary. Together with their friends, they went diving in the ocean, often using scuba gear that they weren't officially trained to use. They rode horseback on the beach, hiked all over the place, and always did a lot more. And whatever they did enthusiastically. Nancy was a straight-A student. She organized school groups and clubs and generally loved being involved in everything. Nancy did everything to the max. She was funny, witty, and smart. She was a great listener and a sounding board for her friends. Nancy loved her friends, and they loved her back. For all her life, Nancy remained in daily contact with her childhood friends from Mexico. And not just one or two friends, but 40 or 50 of them. Through WhatsApp, Facebook, and phone calls, they stayed connected. Throughout her life, Nancy had a gift for making meaningful connections with everyone and maintaining friendships. She didn't just keep in touch, she kept people in her heart. Nancy studied interior design at San Jacinto College and was successful in her field. But her true passion was her family. To be closer to her children, Nancy left her job to take a position at Zach's school. No doubt she took a substantial pay cut, but it was worth it to be able to spend more time with her children. In classic Nancy fashion, she quickly befriended most of the school's faculty, staff, and parents and students, and Miss Nancy was beloved by all. Later, as an internal sales rep for Grocers Supply, Nancy's people skills became her greatest asset. Her job involved traveling around the world to forge connections and create business deals. She excelled because she did it her way. Nancy was the ultimate connector. She would go to meetings to try to make a deal with complete strangers, and she would leave with the deal made and with more friends. People loved her. After only meeting someone once, Nancy knew and remembered their names and a lot of the details of their life. Their hobbies, their families, what they like to do. People respected that, and they respected her. She cared for them, and it wasn't just business, it was personal. Nancy also had a unique talent for solving problems that stumped everyone else. For example, when there were issues within the company or shipments were delayed, instead of sending an endless flurry of emails, Nancy walked down to the warehouse, chatted with her friends who oversaw the shipping, and lo and behold, the major issues were solved quickly because Nancy was on the case. People went out of their way for her because she went out of her way for them. But Nancy was also known to have a fiery temper. If you wronged Nancy or one of her children or friends, she would let you know. She stuck up for the people that she loved. And Nancy was also her own best advocate. She wasn't afraid to go over the top to get results. For instance, one time Nancy called 911 from her hospital bed. Apparently, she had received third-degree burns from a cup of coffee. She asked the doctors and nurses for help, but they ignored her. So she picked up the hospital phone and called 911 and reported the injury. The medical staff was quick to treat her after that. In 2010, Nancy met the love of her life, Dan. They connected at a party of a mutual friend, started talking, and the rest was history. They traveled the world together and explored it, be it in New Mexico at Dan's property, South America, or anywhere in Europe. They loved traveling and spending time together. And even when Nancy's illness grew worse, she still wanted to give of herself to support her friends and family. She was a tenacious fighter. Nancy didn't just live life, she embraced it with every ounce of her being. When walking became difficult, Nancy still found ways to be mobile. She had a tricycle that she rode everywhere, including on vacation where she traversed treacherous cobblestone streets and ambitious hills. She had a passion for life. May Nancy's memory be a blessing. May she find peace, and let us say, Amen. We now invite her son, Zach, to offer some remarks.
Hello. Man, it's a bad time to do this. That one got me. I think I contribute my mom best to kind of the ethos that she kind of instilled in me of kind of always being a fighter. Me and my mom have been knocked down a lot in our life. From a very young age, she prepared me for this day. Always reminded me that I was going to have a hard time in my life with the illness that eventually took her. I didn't really understand that until the last couple of years, kind of watching her dwindle away. But it was a testament to who she was, because as bad as she was doing, it was never about her. It was always about other people. How are you doing? Did you eat today? That was actually the last thing she said to me. It wasn't about what was going on with her. And that's how it always was. There's a quote I learned, and I'm blanking right now, I'm sorry, but there's a quote that I learned when I was young, and I kind of carry with me, and it makes me think of her a lot. It was a war general who said, aim straight. If your gun runs out of bullets, use your fist. If your fist breaks, use the stock of your gun. If your gun breaks, and if your fist breaks, use your teeth. My mom used her teeth until she stopped breathing. But as much as she was a fighter, she loved too much, kind of to a fault. We were talking about how the rabbi was explaining that, she had a fiery temper. And if you knew her, you knew her. And you've seen that temper. It wasn't it didn't come out of maliciousness. It came out of a place of caring too much. She didn't know how to kind of control it, but, making me think of, my sister was sick in the hospital. She kind of raised hell with those people because things weren't up to par, to the point where they asked her not to come back anymore. But again, it wasn't out of her being mean. It was just that things weren't good enough for my sister. So, yeah. Again, I think it comes off as being mean, but I don't know. To me, it was always just that she cared and she loved too much. And unfortunately, that's, or not unfortunately, but fortunately, I got to see that because I like to think that I carry that with me. Hopefully, I direct it a little better sometimes. But, you know, but yeah, sorry, I'm a master in this whole thing. But yeah, I guess if there's anything that, you know, she taught me or can hopefully teach you is that life sucks and it's going to hurt a lot. It's going to hit you and knock you down. Just get up. It's very easy. Not a lot of thought goes into it. Just get up, brush yourself off, get back on the horse, and, you know, I know she's doing that wherever she is now, and she's probably raising hell for whoever's she's dealing with right now, but making sure that things are ready for when we get there. And maybe even when you get there, because if you knew her, you didn't have to be her family for her to raise hell for. So, you know, if there is a world where we get to see her again, I hope that you all get to know her a little more, like I did. And yeah, I love you, Mom. Thank you all for being her friends and loved ones, and I hope she made some kind of impact in your life. Thank you.
We now invite up her sister, Rose.
Good morning. Nancy, she was my star. She was my warrior, my living masterpiece of courage and grace. Nancy was a star long before any of us realized it. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind of quality lights the sky so others can find their way. Even in the hardest moments, she glowed. She carried a light within her that made people feel safe, seen, and loved. She was a warrior. Life did not always treat her gently, but Nancy met it with strength. That was steady and dignified, not loud, not boastful, just unwavering. She fought her battles with grace. She endured with courage and thought it all she loved fiercely and completely. There was a softness to Nancy's smile that calmed any storm. When she smiled at you, you felt the warmth wrapped around your heart. But in her eyes, there was wisdom, depth, a quiet understanding of life. Nancy had the eyes of someone who had lived, who had felt deeply, who had known joy and pain, and closed love anyway. As a child, I looked up to Nancy like no one else. I didn't just love her. I wanted to be her. I wanted her strength. I wanted her beauty. I want her confidence. To me, she was everything I admired: strong, beautiful, inside and out. She taught me lessons without ever sitting me down to teach them to me. She allowed resilience. She showed me loyalty. She showed me that it means how to stand tall. Even when life tries to bend her, to bend you, and even now, through her heart, feels the ache of missing her, I still look up to her. Nancy, and always will be my star. And stars never truly disappear. They continue to shine in darkness, reminding us of the light they gave while they were here. Nancy, my sister, my hero, thank you for showing me how to live with strength and softness in the same time. Thank you for being my example. I will carry your light with me always. I love you. Thank you.
We now invite up her brother David.
Thank you. I didn't get the chance to live with my sister all the years that together. But before I start saying something about my sister, Dan, wow, thank you, man. Thank you for sticking there to the end. I will always be grateful for you. I really do thank you. Somebody else would have ran a long time ago. You always stood there. Erwin, thank you always for your support. To my sister Rosie. God, I wish everybody had a sister like you. You've always been there. I have no words of gratitude for you. Thank you very much for always being, for take care of us. Si están por ahí, gracias. A todas sus amigas también en México, en Acapulco, que están viendo, gracias. Gracias, hola. So, Zach, let me tell you something about your mother. I still remember the first day that we were sitting with my father and my mother, Rosie and I, and they gave her the news that she had to get an operation. All right. Every time, 14, 15 hours, 16, 17 hours operations. My God, she always opened her eyes and the thing was a big smile. She never said, why me? Never. She always went. You know, she saw life differently. I never understood that. I mean, and like they say, she always cared for somebody else. I remember the hurricane came. All of a sudden, I got a check. I said, what the hell is this? It's from your sister. Remember? I said, even when she was in bed 2 months ago, a check. I said, what's going on? Oh, you're going through rough. She was always thinking of other people. Never about herself. Always how you were, how are you doing. even when this, I don't understand, and I didn't understand until I got my daughter and they put her in my hands. When she lost your sister, wow. She went through that. She went through everything through life. And she didn't see it as hard. She saw it as a challenge. She saw it as, come, a fighter. What's next? Come on, I'll take it on. Bring it to me. And she always got on top. I want you to know, Zach, that she loved you with all her heart. Until that day I saw her, we talked about you. What gives me peace, that was this very spiritual woman. She always said that when she was gone, she's going to reunite with your sister, with my father and with my mother. I know she is. I just want to give thanks for her being in my life. Because every time I got through anything, I have a picture right here of me. I take her out and I look at her and I said, there's no comparison. What are you living? What are you doing? Look at her. What a difficult life she had, but she had a happy life. She always saw the good things about it. Even another operation. Oh, I'm going to suffer. No, I'm going to feel better. Oh, I'm going to have this. No, I'm going to feel better. It's good. Don't worry. And don't else you'll change. And think of somebody else. So, I'll miss you. I just want to thank you all to be here, and I just love you, Nancy, and I always will. And I wish I had a little bit of fuel strength that you have. Thank you.
We now invite up her loving partner, Dan.
Nancy and I were partners for 16 years, and what a wonderful, terrible, strange journey it was that affected all of us. Half the time I was with her was before she was sick, half the time was afterwards. And I thought about what I would tell you about Nancy today, but I realized that if you're friends with Nancy, there's nothing I can tell you that you don't already know. She was completely transparent. She was an open book to everybody. And everybody who knew her character, knew what kind of, how she was a force of nature, her love of life, her love of people, her strength of character. It was obvious to everybody within a few minutes of meeting her. She was also a complicated person. She wasn't always easy to be a partner with. She had high expectations of people, and she held them accountable for it in very clear terms. So you had to take the total package with Nancy. But her character was so strong that it just overrode everything else. But you guys know all these things already if you were her friends. So I'll just tell a few stories to kind of illustrate that. You all know how much, and we've talked about how much Nancy loved meeting people and how much she just loved people. She could walk into a room and know almost everyone there before she left, and they would think she was their new best friend. I learned early on to use that to my advantage. She became my superpower. She went with me to a lot of work events and meetings, and I was not real good at small talk and didn't always enjoy them. So on the way there, I'd say, Nancy, I'm going to need your help tonight. I need you to help break the ice and talk to people. And she'd look over and said, don't you worry about it. And when we got wherever we went, when we walked in, she walked in the room, everybody knew she was there. To me, I mean, you could almost see the lights flicker. She had so much energy and electricity. But within a half an hour, she'd have a group of my colleagues all gathered around her. They'd all be laughing and talking, and she'd know all of their names and kids and grandkids and their jobs. And all I had to do with the rest of the evening was just say, I'm with her. And that was it. The next day, some of my colleagues would say, hey, next time we do this, we don't care if you come or not, but send Nancy. You also know, if you knew her, that she was extremely time challenged. She never understood the concept of time, I don't think. She thought if she was busy doing something, time stopped for everybody else and didn't start again until she was finished. And so she was never late because she thought everybody else's time was stopped. We went to several parties, I remember, with friends, and we walked in, and it's the last people were leaving the party. And she never understood that. She said, how could the party be over? I just got here. And she didn't think it could even start without her. She never learned that. You know, Einstein talked about time as a dimension, and it is relative according to your circumstances, but it's universal and it's constant, applies to everybody. But Einstein never met Nancy. She had her own dimension of time that the rest of us were not part of. She loved traveling and learning new things and going to new places, meeting new people. If you knew her, you knew that. You could, if you see the pictures on Facebook that we posted and some of the ones that'll be in the reception, you can see her in different places, and she's just beaming. You can see the joy just coming out of her, just being in these new experiences. We were lucky that she could travel with me in several places around the world for work, and I traveled with her on some of her work trips and on vacations, and it was amazing. I remember one trip to Japan. We were there, and we went to this tourist town, Nikko, to see some of the things, but we stayed in a bed and breakfast away from the tourist areas, away from all the tourists, and stayed after the tourists left. And of course, she and the owner of the bed and breakfast became best buddies. And so he invited us to town festivals, like their equivalent of a county fair. And we went. It was a large park, and it was full of people. We were the only non-Japanese people there. And the men started making me drink their local liquor with them, which is like gasoline. But she went off in the middle of the park where there were 40 or 50 people all doing the local dance together, and they taught it to her, and she was in the middle of the group dancing around the square, the only non-Japanese person there. They all came over to say goodbye to her when she left. That's what it was like traveling with her everywhere we went, around Europe and Italy, and even to Mexico when she was already sick. We also went through a lot of tough times together, obviously. The toughest being the passing of her beloved daughter, Maxie, but also dealing with Zach's struggles with his health issues, and then her own pathway. She had 8 brain surgeries in 8 years. Before each surgery, she and I would say goodbye because we didn't know if she would survive that surgery that day. And she always did, of course. She was so strong. She always went through it, even when they warned us that she might. And as Zach said, she would usually come out of it with a smile on her face. But brain surgeries change you, even when they're successful. Sometimes only a little bit, sometimes a lot, but they change you. You're not the same when you come out of it. Every time she had surgery, there was a little more of herself that was lost as she became more debilitated. But her character didn't. No matter what happened with her personality and what happened with her physical capability, her character didn't change. She kept fighting. We kept doing the things that she loved to do. We kept traveling. Even 2 years ago, just before her last set of surgeries, we went to Brittany together. She was in a wheelchair, going over cobblestone streets and going through this medieval town. She didn't want to quit. We went to Holland when she was no longer able to walk without a walker, and she rode this tricycle around Houston, all over. We went everywhere in this tricycle. And my good friend Bill Hartwell is here today, arranged for this tricycle to be available at the hotel. And it was this little town of Leiden, which is a kind of a medieval town. And I would go to work during the day in meetings, and she would go downstairs with her walker and tie the walker on the back of the bike and go off into the town, cobblestone streets, bridges, canals. She had no idea where she was going, but she was going to explore, riding out in traffic all over the town in this three-wheeled bike, by herself, unable to walk. She wouldn't quit. She would not say that she couldn't do that. Even at the end, I remember a couple months ago, the only thing left that she could move was one arm. And I went one day, and she insisted that we give her the dumbbell so she could exercise and try to get her one arm stronger, because she still wanted to keep fighting, she'd keep going. But no matter what, like Zach said, you get there, and the only thing she'd ask you about is everybody else. She'd ask how my daughter-in-law Elizabeth was doing with her pregnancy, how Nikki was doing with her chemo, how Zach was doing, how I was doing. That was her focus as long as she was able to keep doing that. She still demanded excellence from everybody else. She was holding everybody accountable. But that spirit just kept going. So her spirit was so strong, and her love was so strong. And she loved you, and as all you know, if you were a friend, she loved you. And her love was powerful. It was focused on you. It was intense. I sometimes thought of it like a blowtorch. When she would turn that love on you, you could feel the flames, the heat. And it burned away all of the extraneous details that get between people and relationships, all the irritations, the pretensions and nonsense. And she was just focused on the essence of her relationship with you. She believed in the catharsis of even arguing and having fights, because it got rid of the details and got back to the foundation of your relationship. She thought that was important. So you all felt that if you were her friend. And when she focused on you like that, it was powerful. And when somebody loves you like that, how can you not love them back? How can you not? So we all did, and we were all changed. Won't be the same because of that. So thank you, Nancy, for those gifts to us.
There's a poem by Hannah Senish, who's a heroine of our people. Yesh Kochavim, there are stars up above, so far away, we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we remember.
There are are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. יש אנשים שזיו זכרם מאיר, כאשר הם עצמם אינם עוד בתוכנו. אורות אלה המאביקים בחשכת הליל, הם שמראים לאדם את הדרך, את הדרך. הם שמראים לאדם את הדרך, את הדרך. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. We remember. We remember.
We now recite the prayer, El Malei Rachamim, which asks God to unite Nancy's spirit under God's sheltering presence. Please rise for El Malei. El Malei Rachamim, compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to the soul of Nancy Antunez-Schaffer, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God, rest her soul. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen.
El Malei Rachamim, shochein b'meromim, המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת היקרה שהלכה לעולמה ברחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשלום על משכבה ונאמר אמן.
We now recite the Mourner's Kaddish. On the prayer books, on the seats in front of you, or if you're in the front row, on the chairs behind you, we're on page 294 in the numbers in black. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah bama divra chirotei v'yamlich machutei b'chayechon v'yomechon b'chayei d'chol Beth Israel b'gala v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach la'olam u'lamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei t'kusha b'richu Le'ela mincho berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran ba'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'merumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronah livracha, may Nancy's memory forever be a blessing. May God console you with all who mourn in Zion in Jerusalem. Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avalei Tzion v'Yushalayim. Now go forth to life and peace. At this time, the family will exit to the meal of condolence, which will be held in the Margolis Gallery down the hall and to the left. Once they exit, please follow after them. This concludes the service.